This conference will now be recorded.
What you're trying to do actually, let me close this off.
నేను అది
Close
క్లాస్
this
అయిపోయిన
one.
తర్వాత చేశాను మీకు.
Okay, fine then. Yeah, we'll talk. So let's discuss about something called backup restore. We are in the discussion backup restore, right? So we have discussed about recovery models, full, bulk logged, simple, and we also discussed about full and bulk logged backups. There are 5 concepts we have talked about. Let's talk about today something very important scenario. Recovery of the database. What are the steps we do follow for the recovery? So that is very important. Sagar is not joined today. Prasad is going to join.
He will join 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah. Why these many sessions open? So actually, what we have seen is, let's talk about this. This is very important scenario, and without this, there will be no interview. And if you fail to answer this question, then definitely your profile can be rejected. So pay attention and ask as many questions as you have. This is a definite question for every level of experience. So better to be keep yourself, like clear on this point. So I don't want that. Why it is opening twice again? Okay. Fine. So now what we have discussed was about full and differential, and full is a complete copy of your database. Differential is something which is just after your full backup, or the differential backup will capture the changes after the recent full backup, every recent full backup. So I'll explain the dependencies, how the backups are interdependent on one another one, and also we'll talk about how the recovery works. These are the two things you need to understand with this. So let's talk about this as a scenario. So just understand this. This is something, a scenario based question. So every day I'm going to ask the questions as well after this. No need to worry. I mean, I'm not going to criticize you. No need to worry about again. Every day, full backup at 12 a.m. Okay, this was discussed when we have discussed about differential. Every 6 hours, diff backup. So the timings are 6 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. Okay. Now every 1 hour log backup. This is the schedules are running. Assume a case. These are the schedules are running. Every hour log backup. So now every day full backup. The full backup is here. Every 1 hour log backup. So 1 a.m. log backup, 2 a.m. log backup, 3 a.m. log backup, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. you will find a differential backup. There will be log backup as well at that moment. So if you have a full differential, then log does not make any sense. So 7 a.m., 8 a, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and 12 p.m. After that, again log backups. 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. also you will have another differential backup. Then again 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., something like that. Okay. Now database got crashed at 9:30. Just assume a case. Database is crashed at 9:30. Then what are the recovery steps you follow in this scenario? There are many, situations, different methods we do you need to follow. We'll talk about that. So this is a full backup, and this is a diff at 6 a.m. This is next backup is this is a diff at 12 p.m. Okay, diff at 6 p.m. Now, what do you need to follow to recover this database? And these are all every 1 hour log backup. What are the small things are there? They are every 1 hour log backup. So, what do we need to follow to recover the complete data without data loss? First thing you need to understand is this portion. Which portion? This portion. This particular portion does not have the backup yet. Why? Because next backup can be done at 10 p.m. but before 10 p.m. itself, this data has been crashed at 9:30 database. Then for this half an hour window, you don't have a backup, which is first thing you need to think of first. For that reason, what you have to do, you have to take a tail log backup basically. First, every recovery, first you have to take the tail log. How to take the tail log backup? All we'll talk about. First, let's talk about the theory, then I'll go into explain the practical part. Understand the sequence first. That is important. So this is a manual operation. These are all scheduled. The backups are happening through scheduled backups. You already scheduled, the system is taking automatic backups, but this particular window, you don't have a backup. For that, you have to first take the tail log backup. Even if your data file is crashed, if the log file is available, then you can take the tail log backup. If log file itself is crashed but data file is fine, then you can recover the data without any backups. That also I'm going to explain as a scenario. I'm going to create the situation. I'm going to recover the data. I'll show the steps, no need to worry. First, understand the sequence here. First, for this particular window, you don't have a backup. That particular backup you need to take manually, which is called a tail log backup. So first thing you need to say is take tail log back. First step, take tail log backup. You have to mention the timings very specifically. Why? Because the question is like that. Take tail log backup between 9 p.m. to, sorry, 9 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. So when you take the tail log backup, the off now data which does not have a data backup will be captured into the backup. Then I'll start restoring the full backup, recent valid full backup, which is the latest valid full backup. Valid means not corrupted full backup. It should be functional. It should be restorable. Latest valid full backup, which is here
Oh,
12A. Yeah,
రవీందర్ ట్రైల్ లాగ్ అంటే నాకు తెలీదు మేము అడుగుతున్నాను రవీందర్ 9
yeah.
PM to 9:30 PM 9:30 PM to తర్వాత
9 to
రవీందర్
9 p.m. 9 to 9:30 కి క్రాష్ అయింది కదా డేటాబేస్.
ఓకే 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 ఓకే
Okay. Then what backup we need to restore as per this? Anyone can tell.
First
I
we will
restored.
restore the first we'll take the tail lag backup 9 to
Uh-huh.
9:30. Then latest full backup available, that is 12 a.m. Then after that we will restore the differential backup of 6 p.m. Then
Excellent.
logs. Then we'll apply the logs till 9 p.m.
Yeah, here restore the latest full backup which is 12 a.m. here with no recovery. No recovery means you wanted to recover further. So for that reason you have to restore here. Then your next backup you have to restore 6 p.m. differential backup. 6 p.m. diff backup.
Ravinder, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
When we can take the tail log backup means data file is available or log file is available?
Log file is available. Data file is crashed, but log file is available. That time you take the tail log backup. If log file is
Okay.
corrupted, data file is available. What is recovery? We are going to talk about that. No need to worry.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to show that as well. Practical scenario. No need to worry. So first, what I'll do, I'll take the tail log backup to protect the data which is not backed up. Second is I'll restore the latest valid full backup. Here at 12 a.m. full backup. Restore the 6 p.m. differential backup. Why? Because whatever the changes have been made after this full backup, all changes are captured into this differential backup. So if I restore this 6 p.m. differential backup, I'll get all the data till 6 p.m. So what I'm left with now, 3.5 hours data for the recovery. So for that reason, next what I'll do, I'll restore all restore.
recovery
You have to be Yeah, no, not it with recovery. Restore 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. log backups with no recovery. Still, you have a tail log backup to restore. Fifth point. Here you will restore tail log backup with recovery. These are the steps, basic steps anyone can tell in the interview. Okay, these are the basic steps anyone can tell. Why? Because these are the fundamental answer everybody would give. But there are many cross questions here. I'm going to ask
రవీందర్
you and yeah.
రవీందర్ నాకైతే అర్థం కాలేదు రవీందర్, మళ్ళీ చెప్తారు రవీందర్. అంటే బ్యాకప్ స్ట్రాటజీ ఎన్నిసార్లు విన్నా నేను గ్రాప్ చేసుకోలేకపోతున్నాను, మళ్ళీ ఇంకోసారి చెప్తారు రవీందర్.
చెప్పడం కాదు, చూపిస్తాను కూడా, నో నీడ్ టు వరీ. సో హియర్ ఏమైందంటే ఫుల్ బ్యాకప్ అనేది విచ్ ఇస్ వన్స్ యూ రిస్టోర్ అ ఫుల్ బ్యాకప్ దెన్ యుల్ గెట్ ఆల్ ద డేటా సిన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ క్రియేటెడ్. యూ హ్యావ్ ఆల్ యువర్ డేటా ఇన్ హ్యాండ్. You need to go with no recovery so that you can restore the differential, because still you have to recover. That's why you go with no recovery. How to go with no recovery, we will see that. But first understand the concept. This has to be with no
రవీంద్ర,
recovery. Yeah, go ahead.
రవీంద్ర,
Yeah.
ఒకవేళ మనం బై మిస్టేక్ లా లాగ్ బ్యాకప్ విత్ రికవరీ చేసాము, ఓకే, అండ్ ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ we have,
which log
for
backup
example, 8 o'clock log backup, 8 o'clock log backup.
Okay, then you're gone, you're out of recovery, so you start from the full again to come to this point.
బట్ అంటే మనం మళ్ళీ ఆల్టర్ డేటాబేస్ అంటే నో రికవరీ పెట్టుకుని మళ్ళీ చేయలేము.
Once it is online, it does not come back to the no recovery. It comes through only backups when you're restoring. There is no such option. You have to come, if example by mistake you restored a log backup with recovery at this point, no recovery possible further. If at all you have to restore till this point, you again start with the full backup with no recovery, again differential with no recovery, again you have to follow the same sequence. You are wasting your time because of your mistake. That's it.
Okay.
No other way actually for that. So once you restore the full backup, you get the all data till this point, 12 a.m. last night. What left, the data is 1 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. 9:30 p.m. data is missing. Roughly 21 hours data you have to recover. So I'll restore the 6 p.m. differential backup. 6 p.m. differential backup will have all the changes after this full backup, this differential backup. So once I restore the 6 p.m. differential backup, I have the data till this point. Then what left actually? What left is 3.5 hours data. So restore 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. log backup with no recovery. Why is still no recovery? Because you have to restore the tail log backup. Restore tail log backup with recovery, which will get all your data back. Okay.
So fourth point with no recovery kada?
Yes, of course, no recovery. Yeah, it is written no recovery, so it should be no recovery. Yes, sorry. Or this is no recovery, right? So this is a no recovery. The last point is with recovery. Now let me ask you a question. In the interview, they will ask you 6 p.m. differential is crashed. You took the backup is not restoring. What you can do in that case? Tell me.
Then
in
we
this recovery.
will
continue
same
12
scenario,
p.m.
9:30 is
differential
crash,
backup.
12 p.m. differential, then apply all the logs, then tail log.
That's it. That's correct. That's absolutely correct answer. If 6 p.m. differential is not working, then I'll come back to the previous differential, which is 12 p.m. differential backup. Then afterwards, 1 p.m. log backup to 9 p.m. log backup. All I'll restore in sequential order. Then I'll restore the tail log backup. That's how you have to answer it. If
And
in
one
case,
thing, Ravinder,
yeah,
టైల్ లాగ్ బ్యాకప్ కి ఇంత టైంలో తీయాలని అంటే ఏమన్నా టైం పీరియడ్ ఉంటుందా రవీంద్ర? లేకుంటే ఎప్పుడైనా తీసుకొచ్చట? ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇప్పుడు 9:30కి క్రాష్ అయింది కదా డేటాబేస్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 12 o'clock కి క్రాష్ అయింది అనుకుందాం, మనకు తెలియదు అంటే ఎప్పుడు డేటాబేస్ క్రాష్ అవుతుందో అని మనకు తెలియదు కదా.
కరెక్ట్. బట్ క్రాష్ అయ్యే టైం ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది అంటే లాగ్స్ లో తెలుస్తుంది మనకి. సిస్టమ్ లాగ్స్ లో ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయొచ్చు. ఎర్రర్ లాగ్ లో మనకు ఫిజికల్ ఫైల్ ఉంటది కదా.
ఓకే,
ఈ ఎర్రర్ లాగ్ లో మనం ఏ టైంలో డేటా క్రాష్ అయింది క్లియర్ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయొచ్చు. ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు షో దట్, నో నీడ్ టు వరీ. వీ కెన్ ఫైండ్ వాట్ టైం డేటా హ్యాస్ క్రాష్డ్.
SCN based కదా, ఎక్కడ ఎప్పుడైతే when the database is crashed, we will take that particular SCN number.
LSN, it's not LSN based, no need to worry. You will find the time when the database is crashed, and somehow you see here at any cost you have to take the tail log backup, irrespective, even if it is crashed at 7 p.m. also. 7 p.m. is over. 7 p.m. over means there will be, like 1 second data is also a data. Every time you go for the recovery, you have to take the tail log backup by default. A second data of transaction is also important for you. So every recovery starts with the tail log backup only, irrespective of the time. That is very important point you need to keep in mind. Maybe
Tail log,
7 p.m. Yeah.
tail, tail log backup or transaction log backup, both are same, Ravinder.
Transaction is regular backup. Tail log backup manually we will take it. This is something when database is crashed, then only you'll take the tail log.
Okay.
They are different. They're not same basically. Tail log backup does not trigger the checkpoint. All log backups will trigger the checkpoint. Okay.
దెన్ ఇక్కడ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ లాగ్ బ్యాకప్ ఎక్కడ కనపడలేదు రవీందర్.
ఏది?
ఇక్కడ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ లాగ్ బ్యాకప్ ఎక్కడ మనకు కనపడలేదు. ఫుల్ బ్యాకప్, డిఫరెన్షియల్ బ్యాకప్, టైల్ లాగ్ బ్యాకప్ కనపడుతుంది.
ఇవన్నీ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ లేక ఇవన్నీ స్మాల్ బాక్సెస్. దిస్ ఆల్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్. అదే కదా చెప్పింది. 1 AM 2 AM అని డ్రా చేసుకుంటూ వచ్చింది అదే బేసికలీ. ఓకే. So here, if this is not working, then you go to the previous differential backup and you restore the log backup 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the sequential order. This word is very important. If example, this 8 p.m. log backup is broken, then till what point we can recover the data? This backup is crashed. That is the interviewer will ask you.
Till 7 only, because it is only sequentially applied. If something is crashed, log backup we cannot apply.
Yeah, internally the architecture follows the LSA number, log sequence number. If one log backup is broken, all subsequent log backups are absolutely invalid. They cannot restorable. They'll have to go through the sequential order only through LSN. If 8 p.m. log backup is crashed, then your recovery is only up to 7 p.m. That's it. You lose your data. There is no other option. Microsoft or anyone can recover the data. Anyone cannot recover the data, I mean to say. If your one of the log backup is crashed, further log backups is absolutely invalid. In my case, I will ask you a question. If this is, this is 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., this 3 p.m. log backup is crashed, every backup is valid. Then this differential is also valid. It's not crashed, but this backup is crashed. Then
no problem. We have a differential backup.
Right. In this case, absolutely no problem. Why? Because you have a differential backup. We don't need to go back to the previous log backups. You have to look at the further available log backups. So in this case, this is fine. This is crashed. No issues at all. But if this is crashed, then your recovery is still this point only. No other options. Getting the point? Which is very important to understand. This dependencies. Log backup should be restored in the sequential order only, because log backups follow the LSN number one to other. If any chain is broken, further log backups are absolutely invalid. Next, I want to do one more question. Like, if full backup itself is crashed, this full backup itself, what is the scenario in that case? Just think often. Just if you can tell, you can tell, then I'll explain the answer. No need to worry. But still, if someone can tell, like they can tell.
Last full backup, I mean
this full backup is crashed, the rest are all absolutely fine. Then what do you do?
You don't have any backups.
You have
Even
a last 7 days backups. You have 7 days backup.
Then restore that full backup. Then from that last week, you whatever the available differential backups.
No, you have to be very specific with the timestamps. That is what the question here is. Every day at 12 AM full backup. Every 6 hours, 6 AM to 6 PM differential backup. Every 1 hour log. I am giving the specific times. You have to go with a specific time when you're answering. Then only answer is valid. So in this case, which full backup I need to start? How I can recover the data? All the data.
Available full backup when you have that, you have to
available. Don't say that available. Available is very vague answer. So you have to go to the current day is, go to the previous full backup, not available. Go to the previous full backup.
Yeah.
Go to the previous full backup. Yesterday also the same kind of backup was happened. This same was happened yesterday also. Go to the yesterday full backup. Go to the yesterday full backup here. And what you can do, yesterday latest differential backup was at 6 PM, right? Yesterday
Yeah.
full backup at yesterday 12 a.m. Yesterday latest differential is 6 p.m. Okay. So you can restore till this point one full backup of yesterday last 12 a.m. and yesterday 6 p.m. differential backup. After 6 p.m., 7 p.m. log backup, 8 p.m. log backup, 9 p.m. log, all subsequent log backup till today 9:30, 9 p.m. till 9 p.m. All you have to go through the log backups only. Recovery is possible through log backups only. This differential does not work. Why? Because these are dependent on this full backup. Once this full backup is invalid, all these differential also invalid. Getting the point? They'll ask lots of cross questions, guys. You have to be very
Can you
careful. What
explain
is
once again?
yeah? Mute it actually. We can hear lots of yeah. I'll explain it. So here, this current full backup is failed. So the same kind of backup strategy was there, and the backups are secured for last 7 days. In that case, current day full backup is crashed. I'll go to the previous day full backup, which is valid. This is a valid full backup. And after that, what is the next full backup? Next backup is differential, 6 p.m. differential backup, yesterday's. Okay. After yesterday full backup, 7 p.m. log backup, 8 p.m. log backup, 9 p.m. log backup, like that. From there, 7 p.m. to yesterday till today 9 p.m. log backups only can work. Differential will not work. Why? Because these differentials are dependent on this full backup. These changes which are captured into differential are subsequent changes after this full backup. This full backup itself is not available, then all these are not valid. Okay. But log backup does not dependent on recent full backup. Only one base you have to give. Yesterday full backup, yesterday differential backup 6 p.m. From there onwards, all log backups till today 9 p.m. all will work in the sequential order. If you are coming with the sequential order, all will restorable. The last is tail log backup. Understood?
Yes.
So this part is very, very, very important to understand. If you don't, they can ask you any question. If you know this dependency, this sequence, then you can answer any kind of question. Any kind of question means, let me ask you very quickly. I'll keep the diagram same as it is, and then what I'll do, I'll ask a small question based on other scenario. I have a weekly full backup, weekly full backup every Sunday. I'm giving very specific timelines. You have to answer with the specific timelines only. Every weekly full backup every Sunday at 12 a.m. Okay. Diff backup every day 12 a.m. between Monday to Saturday. Why? Because Sunday should not run. Why? Because full backup is running. They should not overlap. Fine. The third thing is every 1 hour log backup. Now DB is crashed on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Tell me the answer.
Weekly, we will restore weekly full backup. So that
Which
is on
you
Sunday.
don't.
Sunday.
First point you missed the first point.
Tail log backup, that is obviously we will take the tail log backup.
Very first thing is, yes, of course, you take the tail log backup, which is between 6 to 6:30 p.m. Because
Yeah.
every 1 hour log backup is happening. There is this half an hour window gap that you need to capture as a first step. Always, irrespective of the timeline, you always start with your answer with the tail log backup. Why? Because even if the database is crashed exactly at 6 o'clock also, you have to take the tail log backup because data was captured till 5 p.m. only. After 5 p.m., 6 p.m. log backup was not captured. So that 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. all data you should capture through the log backup. Maybe data is crashed at 6 hours 10 seconds. Maybe log backup is finished 8 seconds only. So 6 p.m. log backup is finished, but 6 to 10 seconds. That 10-second data is also valid. You always start with the tail log backup only, the recovery always. That is first thing you have to keep in mind. You never ever forget that word. Very important. Fine. You take the tail log backup between 6 to 6:30. Next, what you will do?
Then Sunday, we'll restore Sunday 12 a.m. backup with no recovery. Then
Okay.
we will restore Tuesday differential backup. Then from Tuesday, like one from Wednesday, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, all the logs till 6 o'clock. We'll apply the
Mm-hmm.
logs. Then
Mm-hmm.
tail log backup we will restore.
Yeah, almost very good answer, of course. So only thing is, you need to restore the last Sunday 12 a.m. full backup. Okay, after that you have to restore Tuesday 12 a.m. differential backup. From 1 a.m. to Wednesday 6 p.m. we have to restore all log backup in the sequential order. Then 6 to 6:30 data we will restore tail log backup with recover. The rest of the backups were all with no recovery. This is with the recovery. That's how you have to answer.
Sir, I
If
have one.
example, yeah,
We can run the full and differential backup at a time. It's not possible, no?
no, you cannot.
Log and differential.
Log on full you can run, log on differential also you can run together. Only full differential should not run together.
But for different databases also or same database? I mean, for different
Same
database.
database, same. This
For the
different
different
is not.
databases.
See, you have a one database. Let me explain. It's not different. Only you're talking about single database. This is. It
Yeah,
applies
okay.
to all databases.
I got about a single database. What about in a server? We have too many databases actually.
Yeah.
Assuming a case. Then what about in that case actually? We can run
See,
two full backup.
it's at wait. At certain point it can overlap. Maybe if it's not current with the database, some other database it will overlap with one with the other scheduler. On one database it will meet, right? Maybe
Okay.
first few database are full, for the rest of the database are going on differential, but at certain point both will clash. That's why you
Yes.
never keep the differential and full backup at the same time. Never.
Okay.
That's how it is.
For different
What you're
databases
talking,
also.
different
I'm
also,
talking about
different,
if we have
different. See,
database.
wait, I got
Ah,
your question. Let me. You have your question is there is A database and B database.
B database, yes.
I'll take the full backup of A database and B database differential back. Absolutely fine. But you
Okay.
don't take the backup independent database backup, right? It's all together. Bunch of databases will happen. Backup of all database will trigger. Not one by one only in the sequential order, but the scheduler will take one after the other. So when it is taking up maybe one differential, one full backup, another database, one and full and differential trigger to other one, then it will be a problem. So you should not schedule the
Sorry,
full and
I'm not
differential
clear.
together.
I'm not clear, Ravinder.
See, you have a schedule at the same time full and differential. Okay.
Okay.
Now full backup is going on one database, differential is going another bit. Till this point is okay. F-
Okay.
Differential is finished at the same time, full also finished at the same time. Next it will go to the third database, full backup, assume a case. Differential
Okay.
also is trying to take the backup on the same one because it is running, right? Both are together. It can pick up any
Yes.
database.
Yes.
Here it is a clash. Some database cannot be clashed, but at one point you'll have a clash. So
Yes.
that's why you never run full and differential together.
Okay.
It's mandatory. Why? Because
Full
they
and full
block
also
each
for
other.
different databases.
Yes. For different databases can run. You don't say the different. Why? Because server means all together at a time. All scheduler will run at a time. At a time
Okay.
means it will pick up in the sequential order only, but at a certain point both will meet.
Okay.
One database will the funda will apply to all databases basically. So you should not run any full backup to full backup on single database at a time or differential and full at a time on single database. That is the rule.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, overlapping should not happen. So let me
Ravinder,
ask. Go ahead.
yeah. Ravinder, you told like every 1 hour log backup, right? So then,
Hmm.
if database got crashed at 6:30 p.m. means we have to take the tail log backup from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. right?
Why 5:30 p.m.? There is a 5 p.m. log backup is there. Then 6 p.m. 6:30. 6 p.m. log backup is there. At 6:30 means 6 to 6:30 only, right?
Oh, okay, okay. 5 a.m. Okay.
Ev-
Every 1 hour means 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
yeah, yeah, it's like that. The gap part you have to
Ravinder,
take the tail log. Yeah.
I mean, in a server we have three databases.
Mm.
And three database we have the different strategy, backup strategy, or same?
All definitely the same, not different. All will go with the same strategy. You don't never configure a different strategy. Exceptionally, there could be, very rare cases. There is 1 TB data is on one server, maybe a 10 GB data along with the same server. One server has 1 TB data and 10 GB data, one on
Okay.
databases. So 1 TB data backup will be weekly, daily differential, hourly log backup. For small database, you might configure daily full backup, hourly every 6 hours differential, every 1 hour log backup. That could be very rare combination basically.
Okay, same, then we have the same backup strategy means,
The whole,
uh,
yeah,
okay, A database will be take the full backup at 12 a.m. The B will take it after the completion of A database, then B will start, na?
that's correct. That's correct. And they will go in the sequential. All database will have the same schedule basically. Same means job is only one, but it will take the all databases backup in the sequential order.
Sequential. Okay, clear.
That's how it is. That's how the jobs will be configured and the servers in everywhere in the real time.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Let me
And
ask one more. Yeah,
could you please show
Ravindra,
the practical way how to create the backup jobs and maintenance plan also?
yeah. That is there. No need to worry. I'm going to take you through. I'm just finishing it, theoretical. Then I'm going
Okay.
to take you. Even if you don't ask, I have to finish that. Why? Because you are going to work on the real time, not going
Yeah,
to write
actually
some
today
exam.
only I joined and I'm so tense actually.
Yeah, definitely. That is going to be covered. Yeah, Kiran, go ahead with your question very fast.
yeah, Ravindra, actually, can you tell that answer? Like, I have answered in my perception. I want to cross check. Like,
Hmm.
initially we have to take a tail log backup with no recovery, and next we have to go to differential backup, right?
What? With no recovery, how come? You're taking the tail lock backup, that's it. No recovery concept is not there when you're taking the backup. Just take the
Tail
tail
log.
lock backup, that's it.
Okay, okay, okay. Next
Restore when you're
differential.
restoring with with the recovery at the end.
Oh, okay. Then here with no recovery, you have written
Where?
latest valid full backup, which is here 12 a.m.
This is something with no recovery, of course. The tail lock backup you have to take between the time that here you said take the tail lock backup with the no recovery kind of. That is a word. Yeah, go ahead
Okay.
with your perception, whatever it is. Complete your perception. I'll answer very quickly and then move on because we have a lot of topic to discuss.
Okay, so we have to take the tail log backup. Later, we have to take the differential backup, and we
Wow,
have.
later again. Why later again? Differential, you're not taking it. It's already been taken. You're only taking the tail lock backup because there is a gap. Still, you did not understood, Raju.
Actually, earlier I have some concept now totally confusion.
Totally me that was a wrong concept you had. That's the reason. Leave that part. Understand? Follow me actually. That can
Yeah.
help you a lot. Very simple it is. Full differentials and logs. First full, then latest differential, all subsequent log backup, then tail. When you're taking the tail log backup, you're taking the tail because there is a gap after the recent backup that can capture that can bridge that gap which is not there into the backup. So tail log first step, as every time you had to start with your answer in the recovery, always tail log backup. Don't forget about that word. Take the tail log backup always. Even in second difference, the second is also important. Every single row, every single information is important, recovery point of view. So always start your answer with the tail log backup, then latest full backup with no recovery, the subsequent latest differential backup with no recovery, after the latest differential backup, all subsequent log backup with no recovery, then tail log backup with recovery. But when they're saying with the timelines, you have to be very specific, very specific. If I ask this kind of question at this in this situation, I'll restore last Sunday 12 a.m. full backup with no recovery. First, I'll take the tail log backup 6 to 6:30 p.m. first step, and then in the recovery, I'll restore 12 a.m. full backup, last Sunday full backup. Then I'll restore Tuesday 12 a.m. differential backup with no recovery. After that, 1 a.m. to till 6 p.m. all log backup in the sequential order. I'll restore with no recovery, and then I'll restore the tail log backup between 6 to 6:30 tail log backup with the recovery. That's how you have to very specific with times when you're answering. there is some available, some word absolutely not does not work. Why? Because there is a timelines given in the question itself. You have to explain the timeline, then only they'll accept the answer. Be careful when you're answering this question.
So what is the question? Like Wednesday, when the database got crashed at 6:30 p.m. right?
Yeah.
6:30 p.m. Okay. Initially we had to take tail log backup. Later we had to take a full backup. Then again differential backup. Again tail log backup.
Yeah, so anybody observed my answers? Wednesday 6 p.m. means, do we have Wednesday differential backup?
Every day 12 a.m.
Yeah, you should
Okay.
think about it, right? I thought like someone can
Okay.
point that point, but I did not expect anyone. You
When I,
had to be,
when I, actually
yeah,
Wednesday 12 a.m. backup is then a differential backup.
it is there. I
Yeah.
was expecting that someone to say.
Actually,
See, don't go with the blind here. 12 a.m. Wednesday is already started. Wednesday 6:30 p.m. it is. Next it
yes.
trigger it will Thursday. So I thought like someone can raise that point, but you have to be very careful when you're answering. That part will be, like they might ask you like, Wednesday is crashed and my Tuesday differential backup is crashed. Then immediately go to the I'll restore the Monday differential backup. As long as Wednesday is available, Tuesday differential backup is crashed. If this backup is fine, if this differential is crashed, none of our business. We don't even touch if this is, as long as this is available. That's why they'll confuse you in the interview. There will be definite question. This is for any kind of experienced people. Without this question, there will be no interview for sure. And this will have a lot of weightage. That's why you have to be very careful when you're answering your question. And also you should have all dependencies. If this one up and all differentials are down, then absolutely fine. Why? Because latest differential holds all the changes after the recent full backup. Catching the point? Tell me
Yes.
guys something. Okay, fine. Let me ask one more question here very, very quickly. Database is crashed at 12:30 a.m. The same situation, weekly full backup at 12 a.m., daily differential backup between Monday to Saturday, and log backup. Database is crashed exactly at 12:30 a.m. on Wednesday or Thursday 12:30 a.m. Then what is the backup strategy you follow?
We will take the 12 o'clock full backup of Wednesday.
Full backup.
Yeah, AM na. Anyhow, it will
12
happen na.
12:30 a.m. That's, yeah, you come up with the
Yeah.
proper answer here. There is an intention. I wanted to confuse you guys to answer it.
Yeah,
Wednesday,
we'll go with the full
Thursday,
Wednesday full.
Thurs Wednesday full. You don't have Wednesday full differentials only, right?
No, actually, you're saying on the Wednesday 12:30 a.m. na crash
Right.
time.
Yes. You
Yeah,
don't have
then we
every day
have
full
the
backup. Every day you don't have full backup. You have only Sunday
yeah we
full
have on
backup.
Sunday full backup
First, you
and
don't take the tail lock backup.
yes, we will take the tail log
That
backup.
that what is very important.
Yeah. After
When
that,
you
we will
answer,
go with the full
yeah.
backup on the Sunday 12
Hmm.
a.m. After that, we
Then
will go with the it's Wednesday 12 a.m. Differential backup.
hmm.
After that, we'll go with the log backup. After that, tail log backup.
Where is there every hour log backup? There is no every hour log backup between
No.
12 to 12 a.m.
Yeah, differential. After that, tail log backup.
That's it. You cannot say every log back. That if you
Okay.
start saying that, then your answer is gone.
Yeah.
So that is very, very important. But one more thing you need to say in the interviews, by 12:30, if differential backup is finished, then I can go with the Wednesday. If database is crashed on Thursday differential backup, then 12 to 12:30 a.m. there is a tail log backup we have taken before we recover. We started the full backup that I'll restore and bring back all the data. So that point, if condition should be there. Why? Because differential backup can take more than half an hour. That is an expected thing.
Okay.
Okay, so this kind of question they would ask you. You think that you have given the right answer, but in the background you went wrong. So this is a very, very important question. Without this, there will be no interview for sure. irrespective of the experience. It could be 7 years, 10 years, whatever it is. This is a basic understanding every DBA must be aware of. If not, you are not a DBA, as simple as it is. Recovery is a major. Backup or recovery is a major responsibility of a DBA. First, most responsibility. And you are not passed on that responsibility, then you are rejected, as simple as it is. So that's why very, very careful on this, right? So first, always start with the tail lock backup and latest, full backup, which is you have to mention the timestamp, and the latest differential backup you have to mention the timestamp. All subsequent log backups you have to mention the timestamps, and you have to restore the tail log backup, which you have to mention the timestamp with recovery. All should be answered in a proper timestamp with the proper timestamps. Kiran, I was out actually. You cannot expect every time to watch your WhatsApp. Okay, I'll watch when I'm free. Fine. This is something anybody have any question here?
No.
If no, then I'll move ahead.
Yeah, I have
So
one doubt.
yeah.
After the completion of after taking the differential backup and recovery,
Mm-hmm.
so recovery differential, we can directly go to the tail log backup also, no? Without log backup also, we can recover the tail log backup.
Yes, because there is no gap. There is no log backup to restore. There is no gap for
Yes,
the log. That's why you're restoring the tail log backup.
tail log. Okay.
That's what it is. Okay. Fine. If you understand this, I'm closing off this scenario, which is very important scenario. If you have any questions, let me know, and I can clearly explain with the diagram and then move on. Fine. Yes or no? All right. There is one more thing I wanted to finish with this diagram, which is called copy only backup. Copy only. Okay. So copy only backup. Why we need to take the copy only backup? How does it affects the recovery? That is we are going to talk about. Example, every day 12 a.m. or else this is something weekly full backup. You take it as a weekly full backup, and the next full backup will happen next Sunday, right? Every Sunday only you're taking the full backup. But I got a request to restore a database. I got a request to restore a Wednesday, uh, 12 p.m. I have to restore a database, the same database which is into this backup strategy. Now if I take the differential full backup at Wednesday 12 p.m., assume a case with no copy only, then all subsequent, see, when the full backup runs in the background, it will clear the differential bits. I written a note when we have discussed about differential backup. Every full backup will zero out the DCM page. One point I mentioned, you might not noticed it. When the full backup happens, it will zero out the DCM page. So if I take this full backup without copy only, it will make the all zeros. Then if this differential backup, if I take it, it will capture the changes after made, after this full backup, not this one. Why? Because you took the full backup here, it made the DCM page all zeros. So subsequent changes, whatever is done on the database, are after this full backup. The differential will capture after this full backup only. This backup is also dependent on this manual full backup. Why? Because you did not use a copy only. Because it is clear the differential bitmaps. Okay. And then whatever the changes made after this full backup, all will be captured into subsequent differential backup. So you are breaking the recovery strategy by taking the manual backup when on demand basis. So in order to not to break the differential backup dependency on the full backup, you should use the copy only backup. When you run the copy only backup, it will not touch the differential page. It will not zero out the differential page, so that this backup also will dependent on this one. This one also will dependent on this one. Catching or not catching? Tell me. This is something very important. Kiran was asked this question, and it should be clear now, I guess. Yes, Kiran? No sound? Fine. Silence. I am feeling like he understood. Fine. So now if you look at here, if you look at on Wednesday, if you are taking that kind of backup, it has to be copy only. All manual backup on all manual full backup should be copy only. Okay, all should be copy only backups. Why? Because you're not supposed to break the existing backup strategy already running through the schedule. Catching the point? So this is something you have to say. Why we need to run the take the copy only to not to break the differential backup dependency on the recent full backup. We have to take the copy only backup. That is the word you have to say at least. That can be, that is a answer you should say. Okay, fine. If this is done, let's do the actual
Ravi,
situation. Yeah, go ahead.
only differential backups will affect or the log backups also?
No, only differential. Log backup will never affect as long as you have a sequence.
Okay.
Okay, at least one full backup. After that, all log backups will work. It does not dependent on any differential. If you have a previous day full backup also, it does not depend on this full backup. One base full back, base full backup should be available. After that base full backup, all log backups will restorable without any subsequent backups.
Okay.
Got it? Fine then. So let's move with the scenarios. Now what I'll do, crash recovery. Then I'll talk about the we will talk about something called mirror backups, typed backups. There are different backups. We'll talk about all that. What I'll do, let me make the situation. There are two types of corruption: data file corruption, log file corruption. In both the cases, how do you recover? So we'll see that both of them practically. So I have a database. Now I have a table called here. What happened? Fine. Right. There is data here. Now, if I run the full backup, what the full backup do? It will take the complete database backup at this moment, right? Backup database. Database name is a class to disk. Okay. So now if I go back to somewhere called data folder, fine. I'll just create a backup folder. I'm going to take the backup here. If I take the backup, what happens? What the full backup do? It takes a complete data backup till now since it is created. So if I restore this backup again, I'll get all the data back online. So whenever we use with stats, which stats is a good thing you have to use, so that it will tell you how much backup is progressed. Like example, if I have 100 GB database backup, so 1 minute 1 GB, one GB, one like it is processed 1% in 1 minute. Then how many minutes it will take to process complete backup? 1%, 1 minute. Compression is something, it will compress the. I'll not use a compression for time being. I'll talk about this later. So now, if I'm running the full backup of the database, it will capture everything. So it is written 1020, then by default 10%. By here it is 5161. Why? Because before it is written 50, it finished with 51%. That's why it is written random number basically. That's fine. So you got the full backup of this database. Where here now after the full backup, I'll do some changes. Okay. So going to the database, I'll create a new table. Lab number integer, lab name varchar. Right, this table creation is into the backup, full backup now. Yes or no?
No.
It's not into the full backup, but it is there in the data file. It is there in the log file also. In
Not
both the
there
cases,
also.
it is there in both the files. Now what I'll do intentionally, I'll delete the database, which I mean data file. Don't think that we are going to take all differential backup log backups. Understand the sequence. If you have a differential log backup, you'll restore it. So you have one full backup at the moment. I'll explain it. So I'll go to the database first. I'll go to the database, SQL help DB, and then here we cannot crash a disk. To see the crash, I'll delete the data file and then do the recovery. Instead of that, both are absolutely same. The file will be available, but it cannot be readable. The specified file is inaccessible. It will write that way. Why? Because it is corrupted. But here it is. Let me go to the database directory, f data. It is in f data. F data. Here it is. You have a class database data file and log file is here. So what I'm trying to do, can I delete this data file or log file when it is online? Is it possible? I cannot delete. I cannot delete any file when the SQL Server is actively using it. Okay, that's fine. Now what I'll do, I'll take the database offline. When you take the database offline, it will release the logs on the files. Go to database, go to task, go to make it offline, take offline. So when you take the database offline, what does it do? It will release the logs on the files. It is equivalent to it is not there on the server. Logically name is available, but physically the logs are released on the file level when it is offline. So I'm going to delete the database. Data file is gone. Okay. Now I'll try to bring the database online. Does it come online? Does not come. Why? Because
No, no.
database actually, this is pending recovery. It will not come online at all. Why? Because data file is not available. Okay. So in this case, how do we recover? How do we know first what steps we need to follow? First, you always, when the database corrupted or it goes into suspect mode, what you have to do when file is corrupted, then you will see the suspect. Suspect means your data is absolutely, there are multiple situations where database can go to suspect. We'll see that. Oh, it is taking time. Why? Okay. sp underscore read error log 0 comma 1. Okay. Now I wanted to read the error logs of for that particular database class only. Why? Because it has a issue. I wanted to see what is the problem with that database. So when you read the logs, read into result to text. Now it is saying that what is the issue with the database? Database is backed up. First step, we took the backup. Setting the database offline on this particular database. Setting up the database online. We took the offline, then deleted. When I'm trying to do the online, starting up the database, but it is written error for the database. What is error? Could not open the file. Why it is not could not open the file? System cannot find the file specified. In the real time, the specified file, like specified file cannot be readable. Why? Because it is corrupted. The specified particular file is not accessible. Not here, system cannot find it, but there it will write the specified file cannot be accessible. Why? Because it is corrupted. So which file is corrupted is written? Which file? MDF file. Data file is corrupted. So now I can recover the data using the log files and backups, log backups and log file tail log backup. So in this case, what does it do? So take a backup, the command to take the log backup log, database name is class to disk. If you wanted to take it through wizard, then go to here task and backup. It's not asking us to take that backup part is disabled because fine, the command will support
Recovery,
you.
now recovery pending is there. So we can,
Yeah, actually it used to support in previous versions. Fine, it is the latest version, so that's fine. So command is also fine. Very simple. It is backup log database name to disk, and what is class underscore and log underscore dot trn. Full and differential backup will have a dot bak extension. Log backup will have a dot trn extension basically. But the file extension full and differential will have a dot bak extension. Okay, for log backup it must be .trn only. It must be .trn only. Now, if I'm trying to run this log backup, it will not run. It will fail. Database class cannot be opened due to inaccessible files or insufficient memory or disk space. Okay, that's fine. I'm trying to take the log backup. I'm trying to take the log backup, but it is failed. Why? Because every backup will raise a checkpoint in the background before it runs. Every backup by default. So here it is doing the checkpoint, and checkpoint is trying to write the data into data file, and data file is not available. That's why log backup is failing. Checkpoint is trying to touch the data file, right? So in that case, what I'll do, with no truncate, there is a command called with no truncate. When you use this tag, it will not run the checkpoint, and the checkpoint will not touch the data file. And this will directly go into the log file and capture everything without running any checkpoint. So this command is going to the log file directly of this database, and whatever is there in the log file, just get it. I mean to say, I'm telling to the system using that tag with no truncate. Don't raise a checkpoint, don't raise truncate anything. Whatever is available at the moment in the log file, get that. That's what this command means. I'm running it. If I run this, it will run the backup. See, it ran. So what it contain now, we have created a table after the full backup. Right. So now what I'll do, I wanted to restore the database on the same one here. So now if I wanted to restore through command, how do we do? Restore file list only first. Why file list? We need to know the structure of the existing database, file structure. I guess you guys might be familiar with the wizard, but you have to start using the command here. So restore file list only from disk, from where the backup is been taken here. Okay. Here, what is the backup name you have to pass from the directory? The backup name is class.bak. Class.bak. If I run this command, it will give me the existing database file structures. This is the file structure of existing database, class database. Okay. Now I'm wanted to restore it as a class. Restore database class from disk. Okay. With move. Stats. You have only two files, that's why you're moving twice. Move. So now first you have to take the logical names. Without using this, you cannot move or restore a database. Logical names should be pointed to the existing. I got the logical using this command. I'm running this command on the backup. The backup is showing us the logical names. The physical, I can give any name, any direction I can restore. So it is there in the physical here. I wanted to restore in some other location. I can restore anywhere. It will restore. You are redirecting manually to any directory where you wanted to restore. So now here class.mdf. I'll just take this instead of mdf underscore log dot ldf. If I try to restore, let me do it. It'll throw the error. First thing is it will throw the error. First, when I'm restoring like this, first I have to use with no recovery at the moment. Why? Because we have further recovery to do, the tail log backup. You have to do that. Else I'll do without that to show that there is no table, just for the sake of understanding. So I'll try to run this. This should fail basically. Okay, it is restored because there was nothing, I feel. But when the log file is also there, it will fail because the file was existing. You have to use the comma replace. Generally it will fail. Okay, so because the log file was already there, so now I'm replacing it with the existing file. Existing file should be flushed out and the new file should be created from the backup. Now database is in the online mode, class database. Now if I go to here, there will be no lab table. Why? Because I just restored the full backup. Now what I'll do, I'll do this one, no recovery. so that I can restore the further log backup. Okay, I'm doing this. Okay, I'm running this. If I run, database will left in the restoring mode. See, restoring mode. Now if I have any differential backup after this full backup, I'll restore restore database name from disk. You have to point to that with differential at the end. If I'm restoring like something a log backup, I have to restore log database name is class from disk and the log files .trn files with no recovery. At the end it will come that just with no recovery, that's it. The differential also the same, like you just restore the full backup, restore the differential .bak file as well. No need to give this file structure for differential. File structure will create with the full backup only. When you are restoring with the differential, just restore database name from disk and give that .bak file with no recovery. That's it. It will restore the differential backup. When you're restoring the log backup, you have to mention the log, restore log database name from disk. Here we don't have a log backups. If we have a log backups, you restore all log backups with no recovery. At the end, you have to restore the tail log backup. This thing, this tail log
Yeah,
backup.
Ravinder.
Yeah,
Yeah, if a client asks to restore the database at a particular time,
I'm
but
going to
that
come that one. Stop it command you have. That also we can do that.
no,
No
no,
need to
no,
worry.
I don't. No, actually, what I'm saying is, if
Hmm.
client is saying to restore the database,
Hmm.
anyway we have the database in the server. Again,
Hmm.
he's saying it restore the database. Then we have to
Hmm.
give the how we can give the physical names of database. Then I mean,
You have to, if it is a class database, then you have to go with a class underscore copy, class underscore test, class underscore dev, kind of different name, because it's already there, right?
yes,
You are restoring of that database backup as a different database, not as the same.
okay,
So you take it as class underscore copy, and at the end,
okay,
the files also will be copy only by the physical files. So it will not clash with existing. It's just a copy.
okay.
It is
If
all
it
together
clash
as
with if it is clash with existing database, it will throw the error. No.
a. Yes, it will. If you don't, as long as you don't use the replace, there will be no like it will throw the error. If you use the replace, it will override the files and the existing will be gone. Don't do that.
Okay, okay,
Okay, now I'm restoring a database as a different one, just as you said, not as a different. Why? Because it's in restoring mode. But I'll discuss that later. So now I need to restore the tail log backup. Differential, you have to do that restore database name from disk, use a differential backup with no recovery. That's it, nothing else. If you have a log backups, multiple log backup, restore log database name from disk, use that log backup name with no recovery at the end. That's it. So now I have only tail log backup because we don't not take all that for the time sake. We have a lot of discussions to do. So I'll go to here. Sorry guys, my net was reconnected. That's fine. So now I'm going to the rename. Just take it and then paste it in here. .trn. Okay. Now I'm restoring it with no recovery or with recovery. With recovery, you don't need to mention basically by default. It is by default with recovery. So you can also mention explicitly if you wanted. This is the last tail log backup. If it is this is a normal log backup, at the end you just keep with no. That's it. All log backups will go with no only. Restore so restore log database name from disk with no recovery. Okay. If it is a log backup, if it is a log backup, you have to follow this format basically. Okay. If it is a tail log backup, that's why I'm going with recovery. With recovery, you don't need to mention. By default, is a with recovery in nature. Following or confusing? So if it is a log backup, you have to restore further log backup also with no recovery at the end. That's it. It is a log backup This is a log backup, of course, and you wanted to restore further. The next log backup with no recovery at the end with recovery. This is the last log backup in our recovery point. So I am restoring this with recovery. So now it will be restored, and then database will come online once you do the with recovery. Then I can go to here. I can find the table which we created after the full backup. We can recover the data of lab table with the help of the tail log backup. Understood?
Yeah, for
Yes,
log
sir.
backup and tail log backup command is same. Backup
Same.
log class.
Yes, same,
Okay.
same.
Okay.
Except when you're taking the log backup, you have to use the truncate with no truncate. That is the only difference. Command is same. When you're taking here log backup log database name to disk, this is a normal backup. Tail log backup is at the end with no truncate. This is an extra tag for the tail log backup. Normal backup,
Okay.
this is a complete command for normal. For tail, this is a command. That's it. There is no difference. Understood? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, fine. So you restored a full backup, you restored all differential backups, all log backups. There are no, why? Because for time being we are not doing it, but you can do it. You can create a differential backup. You take the full backup, do some changes, take the differential backup, and then do some changes, take the one log backup, do some changes and crash the database, and then see the recovery. It will happen. Absolutely, it works fine. The same way it is. Restore database name from disk and point the differential backup with no recovery, and restore log database name from disk, use that log backup and with no recovery. At the end, tail log backup with recovery. That's it. You'll get it. This flow is absolutely same. Let's talk about log date.
And Ravinder, and
Yeah.
if suppose I have hundreds of data files, all I need to write here with move logical name and physical name.
If you have a database have hundreds of files, first time when you're restoring full backup, you have to do it once only. All differential, for if it is a differential backup, you don't need to mention anything. Why? Because full backup will build all the required files. Differential backup looks like this. Restore database name from disk and point the differential backup, and then with replace also not required. No recovery and stats for just knowing the status. Got it? If it is a
Yeah.
differential, this is file structure will be created only through full backup. Differential, you are pushing it to existing files. The changes, they are subsequent changes. It will not build the file structure. It can build, but the files have been created. So you are applying the changes to existing files. This will go and apply to the existing files. It is a differential backup restore. That's it. Log backup, normal log backup. This is a command. For tail log backup also, this is a command. With recovery, you don't need to mention. When it is no recovery only, you have to mention. With recovery, by default is a with recovery.
If we have 3 MDF files and 3 LDF files, then we have to specify each and every file in the restore
Full backup.
when we
When
restore
you're
them.
restoring full backup first time,
Yeah.
you have to mention. You have to mention, yeah, of course.
Like first MDF, LDF, one by one, or the first we have to give
There
MDF
is no sequence.
and the comment for.
There is no sequence, but you have to give the respective file name. If it is a log backup, testing underscore log dot LDF, MDF file. This is MDF file. If it is a end secondary file, NDF dot NDF. This name should be correspondent. It should correspond with the same name. Sequence can be anything. Sequence does not matter. Here I can restore use the first log backup, then data file. It works. There's no issues with that. Only you have to pass all the files. That's it.
Okay.
It's
And
like
this
that.
backup contains all the log files and data files, right? So it will not
Yes,
rebuild itself. When we
yes.
restore, it will not rebuild itself.
No, backup will contain all existing file. When it is restoring, it will create the same existing file with the same structures.
If you
So
want different names, then only we need to write that. So if I want the same data file names with the same data file names, I can restore. I cannot restore like that.
you have to go with the logical name is same, but the physical can be anything. Physical you can keep anything. That's fine. Let me do it very quickly if you have that question. So I can go to database, I can go to files, I'm adding extra file. I'll add 2 more files if you wanted to. Underscore one, this is a data file by default, and then underscore log file. I'll add 1 more log file. Oh, this was a log file. Fine, I'm creating it. It is created in the default. Now, if I run the full backup, again, I'll delete this. I don't want. I'm creating the fresh situation again. First, what I have to do, first I'm taking the full backup. Where it is a full back command. It is gone. Backup database class to disk. .bak with the stats is a good thing you have to keep just to know the status. If your database is so big, use one so that every one process, 1% process, it will write if it is big. So it will write 1%, 2%, 3%, up to 100%. It will keep writing the status of your backup progress, which is good. So now full backup is done. Now I'll go to the table, which is a lab, edit, first, second, third, again, fourth, any random data. Just this data is not into the full backup. Now I'm going to take the log backup. So this is a normal backup, normal log backup. Okay, normal log backup. Now what I'll do further changes. Now I'll crash it. 5th record, 6th record, 7th record. Fine. This data is into the log file and data file, but not into the backup at the moment. Now I'll take it offline this again just to delete the data file. Here is the data file. I can delete because it is offline. Now I'm trying to bring it online. It cannot come online. Why? Because the data file is not available. Now I read their log again and then find it what file is actually not available. Data file is clearly written. Data file is not accessible. Here it is cannot find the file specified, but in the real time they cannot read the specified file because it is corrupted. It will not write it is corrupted. The specified file cannot be accessible. That's how it write. Now when that time happens, first you have to do the tail log backup using this command, backup log database name to disk with no truncate. This is an extra attack. So now I'm running the tail log backup. Data file is not available, still I can take the log backup, right? I can take the tail log backup. This command goes to the log file directly and get it whatever is available. It does not touch the data file. Now I have done some changes after the log backup. So now I wanted to recover it. When I have to recover it, what is the, oh shit, I did not name it as a different one. That's fine. I'll show it off. No need to worry. There are 2 files are appended into this one. How do I know there are 2 files? You can see it from the command restore header only. Restore header only. I should have used different name from disk. This command will tell you how many backups are there in a single backup file. That was my mistake. So if you look at here, there are 2 backups in this. There are 2 log backups in this. There are 2 backups. When I'm restoring by default, it will pick up the first file. When I have to restore explicitly, I have to use a position number with the file equal to kind of. You might confusing. Tell me guys if you're confusing. I took the tail log backup also into the same file, physical file. I should have given log1 at least, so it could have been created a different file, but I forgot to give that. So both the files appended with the same file physically, but there are 2 files. They're appended with the same file. It is telling there is a 1 backup and second log backup in the same file. When I'm restoring, I have to point this position from the same file. Catching or not catching? Tell me something. I took the one normal backup with the same name. I took the truncate tail log backup with the same name. So it written both the files into single file, into this one itself. And I can verify it as well. There are two backups into that file using this command. There are two backups into the same file. Now
Overlapping.
I have overlapping. Yes, overlapping. Now what I'll do, I'll restore the database. When I'm restoring the database, first what I'll do, I'll restore the file list only. When I'm doing this, there are 4 files at the moment for time being. So what I'll do, restore database. Database name is class. You can give a different name if you wanted to give. From disk and the backup, the full backup, what you have taken. How many times move will come? Tell me. 4
Times.
times. Because 4 files. So I have to drag file by file here. These are the logical names. Give me a second, guy. My kid is getting crying. I had to move to other room. She wanted to sleep. Just a minute. To
This
come to verify.
conference will now be recorded.
Sorry. So now I have to move all 4 files to any disk I can move now. So the existing files are in this location where here class log. Okay, class log. There is also class 1. There are also class 1 files. So not to confuse, I'll just delete. Because there is no such database in different server, I guess. If it is not deleting, it is in different server. That's fine. So this is the one, we took the log backup. I'm going to restore it. So physical path, I'll give the same path or a different path. I'm going to create one more directory. Anywhere you can restore basically. This is how you use the command, guys. Try to use the commands. We don't use the wizard as you get the experience. When you run the restore through command, it will be a bit faster. So I'm going to take these names like this. So here first file is .mdf, of course, .mdf. Second file .ndf, secondary data file, and these two are log files. So underscore log2 .ldf, and here it must be here class underscore log .ldf. That's it. Now when I'm running this restore, I have to go with the no recovery, right? Yes or no? Why? Because I have to restore 2 log backups, one log backup, one tail log backup. I'm restoring the full backup now. Database is still there with the no recovery. So run this command. So now database is restored with the full and created the files. Now when I have to restore first log backup with no recovery, file equal to 1, you have to keep it 1. That is my mistake, so I'm covering it with the file 1 means it will restore the first log backup from the 2 backups. Single file has 2 backups here. I'm going to talk about this, no need to worry. I mean appended, this is called appended backups. You can write multiple backups into single file. You can restore one by one. That is also getting covered here. It's a good. When your multiple backups are appended, you wanted to restore the first one, use the position, which is called file 1. So this will restore with the first file. I'm restoring still with no recovery. Fine. Next, what file I have to restore with recovery? Second file. This is the last tail log backup with recovery. So now with recovery, no need to mention by default. It is by default with recovery. By default with recovery. Basically, with file, you just have to mention this. With file 2. If I run this command, you have restored full backup, one log backup. Now you are restoring the tail log backup. Now if I come back to the database now, it will be online because it is with recovery. Now I have entered some data. Which data I entered? 5678 something data. See this data 567 I entered after the log backup. For first full backup I did not enter anything. First for log backup I entered these records. After entering this I crashed the database. I deleted the data file. Then this data came through the tail log backup. Understood? Did not
Yes,
understood anything.
yes, yes, we got it, Ravinder. I have one doubt.
Yeah, go ahead.
In real time, we have to go with replace. No, anyhow, we have lost the log file in this case, in this
Mm,
scenario. So
mm.
we have to go with replace option only, na, while restoring.
Yes, if the database already there, when you are restoring the full backup here, no recovery, comma, replace also. Yes, because it has to override the existing files.
Yes.
So I use, like a restore a database. From here, the file would have been gone in the previous section. If I go to here, the class was gone. It will delete the existing. It will build a new file structure. That's why you have to use a replace. See, I did not delete the class underscore log. This file was there in this directory, one file. That file was deleted and it is created a new structure with our command, this command. So here it is, the new structures. So for that reason, you have to use a replace as well for the first full backup. When you are initializing the files, you have to use a replace so that it will override the existing files and create the new files. So you restore the one log backup, then you restore a tail log backup. So what I did a mistake. You never append a backup, but the interview point of view, they might ask you, how do you restore appended backups? We can restore the appended backups with a file position. That point you have to tell in the interview. How do you find how many backups are there in a single file? Restore header only. This is the command they will ask you. Restore header only will tell you how many backups are there in a single file, and also who has taken the backup. I have a backup file which someone has generated a backup file on the one of the drive. The drive is full because of that backup. I wanted to clean up that backup, and before I clean up the backup, I wanted to know who has taken the backup. How do I find it? This is a question they will ask you. Someone has taken a backup in one drive. Someone has taken a backup in one drive. Because of that backup, the drive is full. I wanted to delete the backup, but I wanted to know who has generated the backup and what purpose he generated it. I wanted to know before I clean up. For that reason, how do I know? Restore header only is a command to find it. Any kind of backup. It could be full, differential, log. Just run the restore header only and that backup file name. That's it. It will tell you here. If I come back a little bit, the username who has generated the backup is the person you can find. That's how you have to answer. I run the restore header only from disk and use the backup path and file name, and in that output we can find who has taken the backup manually on the system and the particular drive. And I can follow with that guy. I can, if it is required, I can move it to somewhere to clean up that, to free the space. If not, I can delete it. So that's how you have to answer. That's an interview question. And also restore file list only. Why we need to restore file list only? The restore file list only command will tell us existing database file structure from the backup. This backup came from any server. Maybe it is migrated from one server to other server. I no need to go to the source server to find the database file structure. I just run this command, restore file list only from disk. This command will give the exact structure the database was having when it is backed up. And I can use, when I'm restoring it, I used all these files. if I use these, then only I can restore. If I'm trying to avoid one file, then it will not restorable. If I'm trying to do same restore example, it will throw the error. What the error it will throw? The files are not matching, kind of. It will throw the error. Maybe it is in use because I have read the table, right? I'll just close it. It will throw the error. I'm going to discuss about what are the errors we do get when we restore a database. No need to worry. Exclusive access could not be obtained because database is in use. How do we handle this? We have a separate situation. I'm going to explain that there are different things which can block our restores. So I can go to here. I can find what are the open sessions on the database. Let me see this. How do you find open sessions on the database? And sp_help db and database name. Just use database name. And then this will give us the database ID. And I wanted to know what are the all sessions on that particular database only. Select asterisk from sys processes where dbid equal to 7. So this command will show only the sessions opened on that particular database. So this should be on the master. If I run this command, this is a session is opened because of which this is actually failed. I'll kill 56. Database is being actively used by someone, that time you cannot restore until unless you kill it. Now if I'm trying to restore, now I'll get the error. Okay, the file was not having anything, that's why it is restored. That is also there. Files are empty, then it will restore. Why? Because after the files I have created, I did not enter any data. So the data is not, the files are absolutely empty. That's why it is accepted without a file also. See, I added a files to the database and then I did the arrange, but the files are empty. That file does not have any data. That's why it is restored. This is something very depth again. See, I'm going to this database. Assume a case. I'm going to this database. Let me show this effect very quickly. And I'm going to create a file. Why it was restored, I'm explaining it to make you understand. I'm creating a file. Now I can go to database. Now I can go to files. I can delete this file. Why? Because it is an empty. Now I'll create the file back. All right. I'm creating the file. Now I'll enter some data into it. It will not let us to delete. Let me create a table just to show the effect. This is very depth again. Situation came up. I wanted to discuss this. When the files are, has some active data, you cannot delete a file even by mistake. From the SQL Server also. Student, I'm creating a table. And before it, I'll run a command. What is the command? dbcc show file stats. Just to make you understand. It is a different discussion, but still there is a situation came up. Show file stats. This is a file. Now one extent here, 37 extent. Now what I'll do, insert into, I'll run a bad command, one loop command. Student values 1 comma Prasad where Hyderabad address, and I'll make it as a batch. Go by 300 times it will execute. So if I run this one, it executed 300 times. Let me see the page count. So okay, 3000. See here, 1 and 37 are used extents at the moment. 3000 records will enter. Let that enter. Okay, now let me see it. So now it has a 3 extents of data, and this has Same kind of. Now let me try to delete the file from the database. Which file? The file which I just created. Can I do it? No, the file cannot be removed because it's not empty. If any file has a data inside in it, it will not let you to delete from the database if it has the data. If I wanted to delete this file very badly, assume a case, I wanted to delete it because this file is in one drive, drive is filled out. That time you can do it very quickly. Go to database, go to task. Oh, okay, let me show the effect first. How many extents are active? 3 extents are active because you have data. Let me rerun the command just to show the effect. Again, we are deviating, but still this is another understanding you need to have. That's why I'm spending time. Fine. If I read the database here, this has 6 sections are active, extents. Now I don't want this file anymore because this drive is full. I wanted to stripe into different drive altogether. So what I'll do, I can do that. How do I do that? So I can go to the properties, striping the data or moving the file from one drive to other drive. You can do it online without a downtime. So this is an F drive. I wanted to move to different drive. It's testing underscore 2, and I'll make this into different drive. Into E drive. Let me create a new folder under here. I cannot create a new folder. Here I'm creating. Okay, fine. Now if I come back to the SQL Server, there are 3 files now. I create an extra file. Now I wanted to migrate this data to here and then delete this file. Why? Because this is in one drive, it is another drive. This drive is full, this drive has lots of space. Now I wanted to migrate this to here and then delete this file. So how will I do that? Go to database, task, and string and files. And then which file I wanted to delete, go to data file, and which file actually I wanted to, the second one. And here there is a option called empty the file, migrating the data to other files in the same file group. So all these belong to same file group, which are primary file group. Here you can see primary file group all. So I'm saying that migrate the data whatever is here into this one and empty this file so that I can, now I cannot remove it. Now I cannot remove it because it has some active data, test underscore 1. Now I'm going to migrate it. Just for that I have to delete that. So this one, empty the file, click it OK. Now if I run the command, data can be migrated, shifted to from here to here. It went to the other one also, it is equally distributed. Now this file become empty. Now I can come back here. Once the file is empty, you can do anything with the file. File should not have data. Now it gone. The file has gone successfully. Now the drive, which D drive was there, that was full, and then you migrated to different drive, the data completely, the disk wallet was cleared. Understood this thing? When the file is empty, you can delete from the database, guys. When the file is not empty, you cannot delete it. If you wanted to delete very badly, migrate the data from that file to other file and migrate and delete. That's what it happened here. It is restored without a file also because it was empty. If the file was having some data, when the backup was performed, when you are restoring it, you have to restore only. For Pakka you have to restore. Why? Because it has to build it, the data. Okay, that is very very depth subject. But still, if you got it, that is well and good. If not, don't worry about that. That will not happen, basically. That is understanding. You restored like a full backup when you are restoring only, you need the file structure. When I have to restore the log backup or differential backup, if I have to restore differential backup, restore database name is class from disk, differential backup concept. Then you give the differential backup. This is itself is a differential, just assume a case. Just you'll use this way. And with no recovery. Why no recovery? Because you have to restore the further log backups also with no recovery. Yeah. And after this you restore log backups. After that you restore tail log backup, and then recovery will be completed. Understood, guys? This is the data file corruption. I'll talk about log file corruption tomorrow, not today. How to recover a database if the log file is corrupted. Log file was not corrupted, data file is corrupted. Through log file you took the tail log backup and you recovered the data. But what if the case like log file itself is corrupted? There is a case as well, right? So that is a different strategy you have to recover. If both files are crashed, then only backups, whatever the backups are available, that is a point only you can recover. Both files are crashed. If any of the file is available, you can recover 100% data. That's why data file, log file should be kept in a different drives. If one drive is crashed, at least one file will be available, either data file or log file, and data can be recoverable. Following, guys? Tell me something at least. Followed or did not followed anything?
Ravinder, I have one doubt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, here data file is correct, right?
Yeah.
So for to restoring the data, like to restoring the data,
Hmm.
so can we restore only data file? On here
No,
we are
no, no.
restoring complete database, right? So
It can be any big or any small. You have to come with the backups only. No data file restore directly.
okay.
Complete data. You have to build it from the backup.
So even if it's hundreds of GB database, also you have
Yes,
to
yes,
even one data file you lost, you have to restore complete.
yes. Complete. Yes. There is no other way of recovering.
Okay.
Any more questions, guys? Because I'll talk the next topic in tomorrow. It's almost 9:50, right? And if in
Hello.
case log, yeah.
Ravinder, for class database, there is a logical name testing. Actually, there is a testing database. What is the logical name for that database testing? If there will be both same.
I didn't catch. Can you come again?
Uh, for the class database, the logical name is testing.
Okay.
Actually, there is another database name testing in the server.
Actually, why this is actually testing means it was restored from testing. The logical names
Okay.
came from here.
Okay. If don't knowingly, if I create the same database name, will it take
No, you have
testing?
to point. You have to point to the logical names every time you restore from the backup. That is mandatory. You get the logical name from the backup. So example, I took the backup of a testing. I'm restoring it as a class. So the class database logical names will be testing only. Why? Because it is restoring from the testing backup.
Yeah, okay.
So logical names comes from the originating database. If
Okay.
example, uh, listen, I took the backup of testing, I restored as a class. The logical names will be testing only. Why? Because it is a backup of testing. Testing database restored as a class, still logical names will remain as a test itself. I took the backup of a class database and restoring as a lab. Again, when I'm restoring lab also, the logical names will be testing only. Why? Because that is carried forwarded.
Okay.
Now, if I wanted, I restored a class database as a case. Okay. There is something called, we have file 1 and file 2. Yes, we can do that. Okay, it is recovered because I did not do that with no recovery. It comes up. So it will have how many records it can have? Tell me. up to 3 only, right? The lab. Why? Because through tail log backup 3 records, only 3. Now I wanted to see the logical names of this database. Logical names are testing only because it came from the test database. But I wanted to change it back to class. Yes, you can do it. That's fine. After creation, you can change it. But when it is creating, you have to point it to that logical names only for sure. There is no options. After creation, I don't want to keep the original one. You can change it after creation from the backup. But when it is creating, you have to definitely point to the existing. So now if I click it OK, the files will be renamed to the database name. But when I'm restoring it, I have to point to the existing. That is option. You don't have other options. When I'm restoring the backup, these files only have to map. The logical name should be use the same name. After the creation, you can change it if at all you wanted to the class and the class only. But when you are restoring, it has to be mapped to these names only. Got it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Any more questions before I finish or close the class? Any kind of question, guys, about this topic? If not, I'll close the class and send it tomorrow. I mean, this class.